Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the 1-800 Gambler Community United National Alliance podcast. My name is Luis Del Olve, and I am most honored to be here with you. In this space, we bring together stories, insights, and resources to raise awareness about the impact that problem gambling has on our community. And as we know, that impact is very far reaching to a lot of individuals within our community. So today, we would like to talk about something that's very much a part of our life and our youth life. We're talking about how gambling and gaming affects mental health. Gaming and gambling, often you'll hear these terms being used interchangeably, but they're not the same. They're not one and the same. Okay. When it comes to gaming, outcome is achieved by skill, but that skill comes at a price. We have to sacrifice time in order to achieve the skill that we want to achieve, right? Listen, it takes skills, and in gaming, the outcome, there are some people that are very skillful when it comes to video gaming, but these are individuals that have spent a lot of time, in front of the screen or in front of a computer, playing video game. When it comes to gambling, if you want to achieve the outcome that you want to achieve, that's going to be done by chance or randomness. Now, I know there are certain gambling activities, such as poker, where people don't see it as gambling, but that's because it says it takes a certain amount of skills in playing poker. But although you have professional poker players, poker is gambling. Okay, not many of us are able to stand somewhere and be able to play poker without getting some sort of emotional about it, and those emotions can lead into problematic gaming behavior. Even those professionals that you call them professional players, many of them, in reading their story, you see that at some point in their time in their life, a lot of them suffered through some sort of problematic gambling behavior. Gambling and gaming, what it does is it taps into the brain reward system. Listen, gambling, gaming is an exciting activity. It's promoted with a lot of fanfare, lights, music, people having fun. So yeah, our brain is geared towards pleasure. Okay. So the brain does release a lot of dopamine. And as you know, dopamine, the neurotransmitter dopamine, is associated with that feel good. And many times when we're feeling good about something and we become emotional about it, we experience impulse control. And when it comes to the kids, it comes to youth. And we talk about kids because you have a lot of kids playing video games that have gambling-like mechanics who are 10, 11 years old, 12 years old. Okay. So when it comes to poor impulse control with youngsters not being able to engage in self-control because they are so involved into the game. We're going to talk about that later on, but it deals with brain development. Okay. But yes, the frontal lobe of child's brain is not fully developed yet, and they are under construction. So the mental nutrition that they receive during this stage of life is very important. Okay. It leads to poor judgment. And also, people tend to be very impulsive when it comes to gaming and gambling. How often do we know of, or we have seen someone throw a control at the screen because they get so caught up into the game that they're playing? Gambling and gaming, there's a lot of psychology in it, but it's a very emotional activity. And when you come to when you come to into gaming and gambling so deeply and you feel it so deeply, uh, and that feeling goes unregulated, it can cause health issues. A lot of our children who are not able to achieve the level of game that maybe some of their friends are achieving, or they're not able to reach the level that they want to reach, they get very anxious about it. And if they stay in that level of anxiety for so long, it can lead to depression. Just like sports betting, gambling. Gambling can cause a lot of anxiety. Individuals who gamble and decide to chase their losses, they experience a lot of health issues. Gambling, just like gaming, is not a problem. Many individuals are able to engage in this activity with no issues. But if you gamble or you game until there is a problem, that's the problem. The problem is not engaging in the activity. The problem is engaging the activity so deeply that it causes you issue. A person who has a gambling problem will also have a financial problem. And that financial problem can lead to health issues. Both gaming and gambling, they have certain common signs. Being preoccupied with the last bet that you made, being preoccupied when you're in school because you want to get home, so you want to get onto your game, that can be an issue. It doesn't mean that you have a problem, but it means that you need to look further into what's happening. If this is why you're feeling intense craving, individuals who have started developing a problem with gaming and gambling, and then they stop with it, or they try to curve the amount of time that they spend gaming and gambling, they go to intense craving. They go through withdrawals, just like an addiction. So we have to stay up on how it is that, how comfortable are we at a level of either gaming or gambling? Are you okay with what you're doing? Truly. I'm not talking about someone who's gaming or gambling 6, 8 hours a day, and you're sitting there, oh, I'm fine, everything's good. What are you sacrificing? Those 6 hours, those 8 hours that you spent playing this video game, what did you sacrifice? How much did you grow? And during that gameplay, how emotional did you become? How many times did you bang the counter or the table? Or how many times did you attempt to throw the control? Where you get so angry, you just pick up with the control, but you realize if I break this, I'm gonna have to buy another one. So you don't. Some people are not able to control themselves. Are you behaving the way you were behaving once upon a time with your families, with your friends? Are you going through these mood shifts? Are you constantly changing emotionally because of your level of playing? And if you're not comfortable with your level of playing, then it's time to go to talk to someone. Gambling disorder, just like problematic gaming, involves a repeated problematic behavior that's causing you a lot of problem. It's causing you distress. And if you realize that what this activity is causing you problems and you try to pull back, and somehow here you are having those intense craving, then that right there just validated that there may be an issue. So you may have to, go outside of yourself to go get the help that you need. Listen, going out to get help is not a weakness. Realizing that you need help with a certain activity or something that you're doing that's causing you a problem, and you finally realize, you know what, I need to go get help. That's a sign of strength. It takes courage to be able to admit to certain things that you know that you're doing that's causing you problems. And this is something that, we just have to deal with. As you're gaming, as you're gambling, you're going to run into losses. You're going to have setbacks. As I said before, there's a lot of psychology in gaming. There's a lot of psychology in gambling. These are two activities that are buying for your time. And in order for them to convince you to stay there in that activity and engage in that activity as long as possible, there's psychological effects to it. So yes, it's a lot of psychology to it. And as we said before, and you heard me say this before, we are not for nor we against gambling. Okay. We stand neutral in legalize gambling. It's an activity that you can engage in, and if you're of age, you should. Now we are against illegal gambling. We are against underage gambling. And the fact is, with the gaming not being a risk-free activity and gaming having gambling like mechanics within the game, you are being conditioned to be a gambler as you get older. So these are things that you have to look out for, because the longer that you stay in gambling, you will lose. And then if you develop an issue, you're going to want to chase those losses. And just the same way your body was flooded with dopamine when you were engaged in gambling, when you were winning, your body's also going to react when you start losing, when you're not feeling so good about the level of playing that you're doing. When your body starts releasing, the stress hormones like cortisol. And then you start having negative thoughts. You start experiencing negative feelings. You started feeling anxious. Some people become addicted to feelings, to emotions. And sometimes there are those that get so deeply into their emotions that they can develop depression. And depression will lead to desperation. And this is one of the issues that we're going to deal with during this conversation. The fact that a lot of gamblers, a lot of problem gamblers, a lot of problematic gamers, they become so depressed that they start thinking about suicide. Gambling has the highest rate of suicide than any other addiction. There's a lot of psychology in this game. It's not a risk-free activity. And you got to be up on that. You have to teach yourself about the risk that are involved in any activity that you do that is buying for your time. Because the longer that you spend in that activity, the more the chances that you are going to develop some sort of problem. It is what it is. That's what gambling is. Gambling is an activity where things is up in the air. It's just chance. You cannot control it. And if you develop a problem, there's going to be other things outside of you that are controlling you. And there's going to be times that you're going to get so low in that activity that it's going to cause you to have some crazy thoughts. And some of those crazy thoughts can lead to you hurting yourself or just thinking about hurting yourself. And these are things that we have to keep in mind. Gambling disorder is high as far as suicide. Gaming, not as high, but it is sufficient. It does have a significant level of problems that it can lead you to social issues. You can be gaming so much that you may develop problems with your family. Maybe not getting along with your siblings. Maybe not paying attention to your parents and the rules of the house. Maybe you're hiding because you want to go gamble. You want to go gamble. You want to go play games, and you want to make sure that the family doesn't know it. So you're hiding in the basement. You're hiding in corners. You're making excuses to go away and go somewhere just to engage in the activity that you want to engage. This is not a risk-free activity. And you know what? There's nothing wrong. Listen, there's nothing wrong with gaming. We really don't want to scare people. We're not going to say that all those who engage in gaming can end up with a problem. But if you engage in excessive gaming, that can lead to a problem. And for most that are having that issue, that excessive gaming, we're not talking about for someone who just games every once in a while. Come home, you come home from school, you already did your homework, and you get yourself on the game for half hour, 45 minutes. We talking about those individuals who are constantly gaming 6, 7, 8 hours a day. We have had individuals, I've talked to individuals who game 11, 12 hours a day. What are you sacrificing? When you engage in activity for so long, what are you sacrificing? And this is one of the things that you just have to talk about. Once you know there may be a problem, let's intervene. Let's find some kind of way to correct it. And there is prevention. There's certain preventions that we can engage in. We want to encourage participation, especially if you're younger. Okay, you got to remember, at what age does a human brain become fully developed at? 25, right? I know for women it's a little lower. They says for women it's 21, but for men it's 25. Listen, just because men, it takes us a little longer to properly develop or to fully develop our brain, it doesn't mean that we can't catch up. Okay, maturity doesn't come with age. Maturity is a choice. Maturity is an intentional choice. So we just got to keep in mind of being able to balance our activity. Yeah, we can do some gaming. Maybe you want to even engage in some gambling. It's legal. That's fine. But we just can't do it until a point where we should not do it. I'm not saying we can't, but we should not do it to a point where it brings problems to our life. Let's balance this. Let's go out with people. Let's engage in some hobbies. Let's go play some basketball outside. It's not just always about staying in and engaging in these activities. And I know for parents, caregivers, I know sometimes you let the child or the youngster, the young adult game and stuff because at least you know where they are, right? They're home, they're safe. But we have to know that they're not going to stay that age that they are now. It says that the human child, by the age of 7, will have to develop a belief system. And that belief system is based on experiences, what we see, what we're told, what we're modeled. So, we want to be able to create a balance, a balanced environment for our youth to grow up in. Because a balanced environment is going to help them achieve what they might, what they need to achieve. Okay. You want to build a support system, a network that's going to support everything that you do. Don't just engage in gambling. And if you do, you want to make sure that there's certain things that go into play, right? You don't want to gamble alone. And if you're going to gamble with people, try not to gamble with people that are basically validating your activity, that are supporting you in such a way that encourage you to be in the activity for a longer period of time. Gamble with someone that knows your financial situation. Having that voice outside of you is very helpful. So, just make sure you do that. Gamble with someone you know, but someone you know is responsible. Not just because someone that's like-minded, like you and will support no matter what level of play that you do. Make sure you limit your time when you're gambling. Limit the amount of money that you want to put on the side for gambling. And know that that's just your cause for being entertained. Gambling is a form of entertainment. For parents, caregiver, talk to children, talk to our young adults. Create an environment where they feel safe coming to you. Listen to what they have to say. Don't be judgmental as far as what they're sharing, because they're coming to you for a certain reason. They're coming to you because maybe they feel that they have nowhere else to go to. So let me just talk to my parent. You don't want to push them away. You don't want them to have a conversation where they experience a problem with gambling and gaming with someone of their age. Because more than likely, someone of their age is also engaged in that activity that they're in. Not always, but sometimes. So be empathetic. Even if that voice behind your head is telling you, grab them and shake them, shake some sense into them. Don't do that. Just simply listen to them and try to come up with solutions of what you can do. Create that safe space for them. That space where, you know what, you can come here and you can share your concerns. I'm here for you. And also model the behavior. Remember what I said before? We learn by experience, right? We learn by what we see, what we hear, what we experience. So be a model for them. Though don't limit their screen time, but yet you're engaging in the activity yourself because they're watching. And if you engage in the activity in an excessive way, and I know you're an adult, who says, no, I'm an adult, they're the child. But you want to set good examples. Setting good examples are going to help you be able to connect with your children. And don't ever discipline a child and yeah, I'm going to say that. Don't ever discipline a child without telling them why you're doing it. You want to process the entire situation with them. You don't want to always be pointing the fingers. Stop doing this. It is because of you that we're living the way we're living. No. Tell them what's going on. Express yourself to them. Listen, if they're engaging in activity that's causing the family issues, they're not going to know until you talk to them. Let them know. Listen, you're causing the family a lot of distress, and we need to do this because of ABC. And of course, we want to give our children the tools to be able to understand what's going on. And until they understand what's going on, we have to be the ones to make certain decisions. There are certain tools that are available to the parents, to the caregivers, that they can implement certain boundaries when it comes to gambling and gaming. Use those tools. Set boundaries. If you explain it properly, the youth are going to fall in line with whatever structure you set. As long as you do it in an empathetic way and in a way that they're going to understand why you're doing what you're doing, why you're expressing yourself the way you're expressing yourself. You want to be able to show them that, hey, look, I engage in this too, but I'm not doing it in such a way where I'm neglecting my responsibilities. I'm not doing it in such a way where I'm pulling away from the family. I'm not doing it in such a way where I can't pay my bills. So you want to make sure that you demonstrate what it is that you want from them. Show them. Okay. I love the saying by Frederick Douglass. It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men. Like I said before, it is said that by the age of 7, a human child will have developed a belief system. And this is a belief system based on what we show them. Before the age of 7, parents, loved ones, caring adults, caregivers, we are those children's first line of influence. After the age of 7, the street becomes more of an influence. But you want to put enough into children. You want to give them enough knowledge, enough tools for them to, once they're separated from you, where they'll be able to navigate through a lot of the stuff that's going to come at them, that life is going to throw at them. It'll be easy to do that. One of the next topic we're going to be talking about will be about unregulated sites. where people gamble in unregulated sites. So we got to be careful. Okay. Our children are watching. Model what it is that we want out of the children. So for some of the adults who engage in unregulated sites, while the youth is watching, they're paying attention. Unregulated sites can be very dangerous. Like I said, in the next episode, we're going to be talking about those. I just want to throw that in because I just want you to remember that we have to be careful where we engage in the activities that we engage. And as always, if you or someone you know is experiencing with problematic gambling behavior, give us a call, 1-800-GAMBLER. We're here providing support, treatment, and hope. You're not alone. We're here for you. Thank you.